In a humble trailer on the outskirts of Edmonton, 3 women are making history.
I love doing these paintings. As long as I don't have to know anything about or hear anything about Afghanistan, I turn my radio off. I don't read the news. I see them as alive young men, and that's how I can best paint.
These are the faces behind Canada's war in Afghanistan, men and women who gave their lives to protect others. These are the hands behind Project Heroes, the first art exhibit in Canada to reframe our fallen soldiers.
Ultimately, it's to commemorate them in a lasting way, to educate the public about who they were. These are not names on cenotaphs anymore. These are becoming people who you can get to know.
And when we're painting together, like I'll be telling them little tidbits about him, what he did, what his mother said about this particular guy, and I know this guy did this, and it becomes very personal. It's very much like painting a friend.
Susan, Shairl, and Cindy are working non-stop to complete 157 portraits, one for every Canadian soldier who's died in Afghanistan. The aim of Project Heroes is not only to commemorate Canada's fallen, but to preserve their memory through art.
So this is John Kerwin, and he's was from Nova Scotia, and his family is there. Yeah. So John has children, and his widow did send me some pictures of him and his children too. He's a very, very strong character. However, the picture that his widow has sent me, as you can see, he's very soft here. It's almost the same. A lot of it is the same description, how strong they were, yet how soft, what beautiful personalities they had, and how much they loved their families.
It was Susan Abma's love of her family that compelled her to start Project Heroes several years ago, when she flipped open a magazine and found photos of all the Canadian soldiers who died in Afghanistan.
These soldiers are very close in age to my kids. They could have been the ones there. This is one of the older ones. Greg had 3 daughters and a wife who just absolutely adores him. 2 of the daughters are a set of young twins. A lot of these soldiers, female and male, are very young, very young.
Susan felt canvas would preserve their memories in a way that would last, but she needed help. So Susan's friends and colleagues, Shairl and Cindy, picked up their paintbrushes too.
In the beginning, I only know what everybody else knows. So that's what we hear on the TV, newspaper, and radio. But now I'm hearing about war from the perspective of the families.
We're trying to make the families feel very comfortable. We want them to be proud of this exhibition, and what better way to make them proud of it than to involve them. This is what Cindy turned around for, remember, on the computer?
Yeah.
You turned that around for me. But
when they aren't busy painting, Susan, Shairl, and Cindy are reaching out to families of the fallen. These artists interview moms, dads, siblings, and spouses. They share details missing in the headlines, a soldier's hobbies, passions, and personality.
There's a big difference. When you're painting portraits of people who aren't here to model for us, we can't see that sparkle in their eye. We can't see what made them who they were, which is what we try to interpret through our art. And by talking to the families and having a variety of their photos to look at, we are getting a sense of that person. We're not just painting what we see, we're painting what we feel from what they've told us.
They're also getting their inspiration from candid pictures each family member gives to Project Heroes. The result, a piece of art blending the honor of a military portrait with the soul of a family photograph. It has to be finished by November 4th.
These pictures are more intimate. Behind them, first of all, is the stories from the families. And also those photographs hold great meaning to the families too. So when you're painting from that, it's just so much more personal.
It's a deeply personal experience for Armande McCormick to watch these artists paint her son, Corporal Zachery McCormick. This was the photo Zachery's mother gave to Project Heroes. In it, we see the soft side of the soldier Zachery wanted to be before he was killed in Afghanistan at just 21 years old.
what he said. He says he's going over there to help them. And I said, are you sure this is something you really want to do? And he says, yeah, I really want to do. He says, I want to go over there and help the Afghan people.
Zachery joined the military as a reservist, and it became a passion. In 2009, Zachery made his first tour of duty to Afghanistan. 3 months in, on December 30th, Zachery was traveling in a light armored vehicle outside of Kandahar when a roadside bomb exploded. Zachery, 3 other soldiers, and a journalist were killed.
They come to your door. They phoned and they were at my door, and he told me he was, and he says, I'm standing outside your door. He said, please open your door. And I said, not a hope. Because I knew what they were going to tell me, and I said, no. And I wouldn't open the door. Finally, I hung up, and finally he called back. He says, Mrs. McCormick, you have to open the door. And I was home by myself, so I opened the door. And I said, I know what you're going to tell me. And he kept on saying to me, sit down. And I said, I'm not sitting, because I know what you're going to tell me. I said, he died, didn't he? He goes, yep.
The artists and families shed tears of all kinds, despair, but also laughter and joy. It's a chance to learn the little details, like how Zachery's other passion was wrestling. He was quiet with a subtle sense of humor. He loved his family and his fiancée.
You know, when a soldier's portrait is almost complete, from my point of view anyway, what I feel is like, there he is. He's there. Like, and there's somebody that I can't wait for everybody to meet. If all of these boys knew how much lives that they've touched in their deaths, you know, even from these 3 ladies here just, you know, wanting to paint their portraits and have it go across Canada so other people can see, you know, that these boys have all died for every single Canadian.
Project Heroes is commemorating on canvas and paper. Each portrait will also include a biography of the soldier. The goal is to send all 157 portraits to museums, galleries, and military venues across Canada. To make that happen, the artists have been busy raising $1 million for the cost of a national exhibition. And now the fallen soldiers aren't the only heroes this project is honoring.
Along with the portraits, we will have 3 6-foot by 9-foot paintings that are commemorating. One commemorates the wounded, one commemorates the families, and one commemorates serving soldiers and veterans. Everybody involved in this war in any way has sacrificed, and that's what we want to bring to everybody and show them.
Project Heroes is still a work in progress, with about half of all the portraits completed. The artists are also trying to contact the rest of the military families. The heroes will at last stand side by side next year, a chance for all Canadians to get to know the men and women behind the uniforms, their stories, their lives, their legacy.
So we really do see them as wonderful young men and women, and we see them as in celebration of their life.
For 100 Huntley Street in Edmonton, I'm Meagan Kelly.